Feel Good Talk focus is on mind, soul, and business. You are now so let's talk about it with your girl Izzy Meditates and your girl Kendra Moore. It's Thursday.
Thursday, my favorite day of the week.
Oh, I'm so
What's up,
excited.
everyone?
We are very excited today. We have a very special guest. She is an international speaker, an author, and a coach. Today we welcome Kerrie Phipps. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hi, Izzy. Hi, Kendra.
Hello. Joining us all the way across the globe.
Yes.
So great to connect with you.
I love it. So how's everybody's week going?
Well, I've had a fantastic week. I met Kendra just maybe a week ago, and I'm excited to hear about her week because she posted about what she's going to do in the past week. So I've been to Canberra and visited my son, which was really cool, and a couple of clients down there. And then I came up to the Gold Coast. So I suddenly feel like a traveler again. You know, my suitcase calls out to me from the wardrobe, and it's been very lonesome for the last couple of years. But here I am over the border in Queensland, and it's just amazing and beautiful and really special to be connecting with people up here.
Love it.
Awesome.
And connecting with people around the world with you guys. So I'm really delighted to be here.
I love it. How's your week going, Miss Kenny Kendra?
How's my week? So my week is going pretty good. I'm trying to think. Yeah, normal up until today when all of my tech stuff decided to go haywire on me. So my phone screen is blank. My computer battery isn't charging right. And I'm just like, the gremlins. But woosah, I'm happy to be here. You guys are going to light up my night. Today is National Kindness Day.
Yes.
So,
I
thought, like, wow, how appropriate that we're on talking to strangers during this. Now, I'm trying to think, have I accomplished? So when Kerrie and I talked about, okay, I need to be intentional when I go out to talk and try to, like, you know, and I think I struck up one conversation, but it wasn't anything significant.
Yeah.
So I'm just starting. So bear with me, Kerrie. You know, is this like a normal hi, hello? And I can't remember grocery store. So in the grocery store, trying to open up those stupid produce bags to put the produce in. And this one lady was like struggling to do it. And so I started talking to her about that, and we just had like a laugh about it. And that was that. So that's
those things, man. They're
that
tough.
was my talk to strangers moment for that outing.
And you see, that actually matters more than you think, because it feels like it's not a significant thing, but you don't know what that meant for that lady. You know, even just to be able to laugh, it breaks this tension, and everybody's walking around with some kind of tension right now. Right. And so just to interact with you, I can see just from knowing you, you know, from our conversation last week, and even just right now, I just think, oh, but you just made such a difference, and that was a beautiful thing. So we can't discount all of these things that don't feel significant to us, because you know, when we think about it, we've experienced acts of kindness that were so significant to us, but to the other person, they were just passing by and just did something little that helped, and they've probably forgotten about it. And they think, oh, I don't really make a difference in the world. You know, I'm not really, you know, a big influencer, but you know that little act of kindness meant so much to you, and that they just wouldn't understand what the kindness means. So you got to remember that somebody else is in those shoes, and they're encountering you at the supermarket and just going home feeling better about the world.
Right.
I
love that.
I know. What's going on with your week?
It's been busy, super busy. It went by so fast, I could hardly remember it. What's soothing for me right now is today is really super warm, and the wind's blowing. Like, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's like a wind, and it's wisping, and it's making me feel all great inside. So yeah, I love what you said about that. And we're going to jump into connection and communication. But first, I'd like for you to just tell us about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your book, because we'll get into that. And our Feel Good Talk family would love to hear.
Yes. And don't miss out talking about your speaking engagements, because I love to hear you talk about those. So fast. It's so awesome.
They feel a little like a thing of the past at the moment, and it's weird when people are introducing me as like an international speaker. I'm like, Yeah, there is that. The last 5 years, or 5 years before the pandemic, sort of from 2014, I spent a lot of time flying to Asia and connecting with people, and it was this book that kind of took me there and kept me going back. Do Talk to Strangers, How to Connect with Anyone, Anywhere. And, the first time that I shared this book in Singapore, it was with it was meant to be a small team, an intimate gathering of like the top 20 leaders. But they shared, with WhatsApp, within 24 hours, it had gone from like, 10 or 20 people to 100 people like packed in this room. And then the photos with all of them like posing with the book and with me and sharing it everywhere. And then I had requests from other countries, and it was just amazing. And I really loved that people were happy to ask awkward questions. So in this room in Singapore, there were people from so many different countries around the world. And, in Australia, we tend to be a bit like, we're not so good at vulnerability. Brene Brown talks about how, her Texan family, they don't do vulnerability. And I'm like, I so relate. It's like, she'll be right. So there's a very well-known, well-used Aussie expression, she'll be right, mate. It's like, it'll all be okay. Just don't worry about it. Right. And with that, we can suppress how we really feel about things. And I just loved that I encountered so many audiences where people would just throw their hand up and just ask a question that I would think, that's so brave and so vulnerable. And, they would ask about those awkward moments when this happens or when you feel like this. Right. And I just thought, that is incredible. We can talk about these awkward feelings. And I ended up doing hashtag be okay with awkward. Kendra, I don't know if we discussed that last week when we chatted, but it's been coming up a bit this week. Yeah. Be okay with those awkward moments because we get so scared. And, I'm realizing I'm not answering the question you asked me about my story. And I'm like straight into
that's okay.
That's good.
Doesn't matter about my story. What matters is like the conversations that we have. But so I started coaching in 2004. I'd been pretty much giving my time in a mostly voluntary role for 7 years before that. I was just totally exhausted, and I picked up a virus in Asia. I was doing like mission trips over there and taking teenagers to Thailand and teaching English in universities and stuff. And my second trip, I just hit the wall after I got a virus. My throat puffed out, like sort of from, next halfway up my ears, right down to my collarbone. And I was like, that. My husband wanted to take photos just to like document this because it was so bizarre. I wouldn't let him. I was like, no. I regret that now. I think it's great having before and after photos. If you're renovating a bathroom and it's like really awful and you just think, I wouldn't want anyone to see this, get the photos, because later you go, when people are saying, oh, that's fantastic, that looks great, you're like, oh, no, that's not great. That is amazing, because you should have seen where it was before. But I hid how sick I was, but it, my body just kept going, no, you can't push through this. You can't push through this. And so I was in chronic burnout and fatigue. And from there, I'm like, well, where do I go from here? I thought I'd be helping people forever. Like, I just thought this is my life. And I, the doctor said you won't work for 5 or 10 years. And that made the rebel in me just stand up and go, no, this is not right. If you're not going to help me get off the lounge, I will find people that will. And so, I started looking into natural therapies and getting support from other people and resting and journaling. I had to just write out everything that I was going through, and, getting massaged twice a week and getting all these toxins out of my system. Like, my neck was just pimpled like a really acne affected teenager. And at 30, that's really kind of confronting. And so painful. But, in that time I was just searching, where do I go from here? And one day I'm walking down the street and I see this family having a massive argument. Just to share another Aussie word. Oh, I think it's Aussie. I don't know. A Donnybrook. Are you familiar with a Donnybrook?
No.
No, okay. I wasn't either till I was like about 20. And one of my friends said, oh, my husband and I had a huge Donnybrook last night. I'm like, what? Anyway, so this family is like just at it, and they're dragging this teenage girl into a car. And I was like, okay, like, obviously this is not the moment for me to intervene, but like, how would I recommend myself to people? How could I step in and support in a troubled situation, and how do I recommend myself to people? So I'm running through all these words in my head, like, I'm a pastor, I'm a youth pastor, I'm a minister, I'm a counselor, I'm a coach. That just dropped into it was like this divine whisper, I'm a coach. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? That sounds like me, and I didn't even know what it was, but like I searched it out and I found this website that just had words from my journal. And I went, okay, this is where I'm headed. This is me. And so I started coaching. That was 2004. So I signed up for the training. I was like, I don't even know if I'm well enough. I can't think straight. I felt like the least educated, the least everything in the room. I was the youngest, the least professional, the least eloquent, but I knew that I needed to do this, and so I just embraced all the training. It was like a deep dive for years, but I started taking on clients, and I was working with my own coach before I started the training, and just getting my head clear, getting my world sorted. We'd moved house while I was sick, and so I just had boxes everywhere, and so and getting my health on track. And I celebrated the end of that year in New Zealand with a bungee jump and doing the hot water slides, and I'm running up the stairs and down the slides and back up the stairs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what it's like to feel alive again. And I said journaling was a key point in my recovery, and so my first book was this journal, which has my husband and son on the cover there.
Very nice.
Super cute, because they've been part of the journey the whole time. My son was 4 when I started coaching, and I'm so grateful for that, because it just made me a much more mindful parent. And
I love that. I love that you journaled. You know what I mean? That you wrote those things, because sometimes, like you said, we kind of suppress that, and to write about it. And then as you share your story, it helps other people who are trying to, repress those thoughts, feelings.
So question, what made you so you decided, okay, coaching is going to be my thing. How did you kind of go into the talking to strangers part? Because that's what I found, like the do talk to strangers. And by the way, when I Googled your book, it was so funny because I Googled do talk to strangers, right? And then you see all these kids' books. Never talk to strangers. Don't talk to strangers. So it was just so funny that it's like the complete opposite of what we are normally taught. So talk to us a little bit about how you kind of made that your thing.
Well, it really was responding to the encouragement of others and the questions of others. So very quickly, because I was so immersed in the coach training, and then when I'd done all the training, then I came back as an assistant trainer. And so I was connecting with coaches around the world. I was coaching some of them, and it just was broadening my network. And people would say to me, but how can you have an international business when you're in Dubbo? It's this little country town. I mean, it's a regional city compared to your cities and Indian cities. My gosh, it's a village. But, in Australia, it's a regional city, and we have the internet. We have an airport, 10 minutes from home on the edge of town, where I'm an hour from Sydney, and, if you live on the outskirts of Sydney, it takes you longer to get to the international airport than my, 1 hour flight. So it's like, we don't have the limitations that we think we do. People think that you can't grow an international business from a little country town. But why not? Yes, exactly. And then I would be sharing with people, I met this person on the train, and then this amazing thing happened, and then they introduced me to this person, and now I've connected them with, these teenagers, and now they're getting funding for, their tertiary education, and it's just like really cool. I'm just sharing these exciting stories of connection, and people are saying, hang on, wait. What were you thinking when you said hello to that man on the train? Like, how is that not weird? And I'm like, oh, well, I guess. So it just was people's questions. And then, so I started writing it. And because my second book is about entrepreneurs in regional Australia.
Nice.
It's called Lifting the Lid on Quiet Achievers, because they can be, on the rich list, and they have got this phenomenal business. They're employing thousands of people, but they'll just introduce themselves as a farmer. They're just Yeah, quiet achievers. They just kind of go along doing their thing and making their difference, but not really talking about it much. And so I wanted to unpack their stories, and so much solution-focused thinking. And, so I've been putting the spotlight on regional Australia because of the reactions that I got when I was in cities, and people would say like, oh, but, you're in Dubbo. And so that book had me traveling around Australia sharing and connecting. And so I guess it was the progression to really unpacking more of the Talking to Strangers stories. But it was friends challenging me to just not share inspiring stories like I guess the previous book was.
Yeah.
But they wanted my content. They wanted my teachable framework. And when I was asked, what's your teachable framework? I'm like, I'm not sure I know what you mean. And they're like, but how do you do that? So I was really unpacking that. And so we created the asking model. You might have seen that, Kendra. But, that took lots more conversations. So it's like a little train track, although it could go around in a circle, like a city circle.
Yeah.
But, it starts with A for awareness. And just, the word asking. It's about permission. It's about curiosity. And, I don't mean permission like, excuse me, can I have a conversation with you? But, when you go to sit next to somebody on a bus, there's a look, you exchange a glance, they move their bag, there's like an unspoken permission. And so we unpack all kinds of permission, but just, that you can progress more in a conversation with somebody when you set yourself and the other person up to win, when you, maybe it's a smile, maybe it's a, do you mind if I sit here? Or, could I ask you more about that? And so, asking those questions that take the conversation forward. But yeah, it really all starts with awareness, and we've got to be aware of the conversation in our head. And I feel like I said to my husband yesterday, I feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over. And he goes, yeah, great, you need to. And I'm like, I know, but in the one conversation, because I did a podcast interview yesterday, and it's like, it's all about the conversation in your head.
Yeah.
Because if we're not aware of that, then we're just, projecting all these other things on other people. If we're feeling anxious and we're not aware, we're not managing it. And so we're just like throwing out these anxious vibes, and then people are like, steering clear. And we think, what is wrong with people these days?
It's so funny because so I'm originally from the South, but I was in the Northeast for 20 something years. And the difference in like how people connect with strangers, like I just had to get so used to it, because in the South, and it said that, and I think it's true, we are more friendlier to strangers. Where I felt like, in the Northeast, I would say, you would say hi or hello, and people would just like look at you. Like, do I know you? Like, why are you saying something to, and unfortunately, and you guys let me know in the audience if you feel the same way, I think it's really prevalent in the African-American community, where I feel like we are not as like, oh, hi, how are you? Da, 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 da. Just like with the stranger, it's almost like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, do I know you? What do you want? No, you can't have what I have. It's like these. So, I really think it's an important skill set it's one thing, like you're saying, like, what's the story we're telling ourselves when we encounter people? A lot of times I think we count ourselves out, and then we count the other person out too. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're so often making assumptions. And here's me sitting here thinking that there's no comments, and I've just discovered where they are. So, so my apologies, everyone. So there's my lack of awareness.
Yep.
I was talking about awareness, like starts with self-awareness, but also awareness of others. And so I'm sorry, I was completely unaware of everyone here.
It's okay. Well, let's get to comments.
It looks like William appreciates Donnybrook.
We'll throw the comments up on the screen, and then there we go.
Amy Lanice Cowherd says, good evening, Feel Good Talk and guest. Hi, Amy. Thank you for tuning in. She also says, oh, no,
Kendra,
I know
my
she's
whole
talking.
computer situation. I know. It's a mess. Computer phone.
Like the worst. Tyrone Ricks is in the house. He says, Tent of Life has tuned in. Thank you, Tyrone. We appreciate you. And Amy Lanice Cowherd says, National Kindness Day. Yes. It should be every single day of the week Tyrone Rick says, good evening, my Feel Good Talk family. Thank you, Tyrone, for tuning in always. Oh, we love you too. William Bird's in the house. He says, good evening, ladies. Hello, William. Good to see you. Charles Brakely says, good evening, ladies. Hello, Charles. Nice to see you as well, William Bird. I was having a tech issue all day, Kendra. Woosah. I think it's that moon that's coming out, the big full moon.
I don't know what it is.
Tyrone Rick says, good evening, Kendra Moore, Izzy Meditates, and special guest Kerrie. Thank you for tuning in. Amy Lenise Cowhurst says, it's the little things. Absolutely. The small things in life make the biggest, that's for me. I always say it's the little things. It's the little things. Yeah. And I practice like being a minimalist, so I love small things. William Bird says, Australia is at the very top of my dream destinations. Absolutely.
Come on
down. It's been a lifelong passion.
The borders are open now, so
yes, William, I'm on my way there, and I want you can come with me. William Bird says, thanks for sharing with us, Kerrie. Yes, I love her. Yeah. We have a similar personality type. We're just like, and I'll get to the comments first, and then I'll tell you my thoughts. William Bird says, there's no lock on true passion. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And Lyndon Phipps. Hi, Lyndon Phipps. Going great, girlfriend.
Yeah, that's my beloved.
Aww. Nice to meet you.
About 28 years ago this week, or last week, we got engaged.
Wow.
We're not sure of the exact date. I'm sure it's written down somewhere. But the big deal was the wedding day, and that was 18th of June 1994, which I know some of our listeners might go, whoa, that's before I was born. But I don't think it's very long ago.
Yeah. Time flies, especially when you're loving having fun.
Yeah.
Brickley says, yes, the South is definitely more friendly. Yeah, I'm in the South.
Yeah.
Tyrone Rick says facts.
I've got to share something on that, but we can come back to it.
Amy Lenise Cowhurst says, it really depends on where you are and how you are raised. Yeah, I live in the South. I remember going to Dollar Tree, and the young lady at the cashier offered me one of her chips from her chip bag, and I was shocked. William Bird says, sounds like you focus on channeling your thoughts with your words, which convey your message. Yes, for sure. Charles Brakely says, it's nothing like Southern hospitality. Absolutely. I love when people call me honey. That's a thing here in the South. They call you honey. I'm like, oh.
I do get that at a cafe at home. One of the girls says, thank you, my honey.
Oh, so I love it.
Hi, honey. Yeah, you love it. She's gorgeous.
Gonna say, when you were talking about being aware, because I am a connecting type person. I love to connect with people. I'm not afraid or to talk to people. So if I'm out in public and you have on a nice hat or something like that, I usually tell you, and it draws in the conversation. And no matter what kind of mood you're in, I will get, a conversation in return. But I think that also I need to have an awareness of when to cut it off, because I get so excited that I'm involved in this conversation and that there is a connection that I keep going and going. And so that was just in my mind when you were talking about awareness. I'm good with talking to people and connecting and meeting new people. But at some point we have to end our conversation.
Yes. And I do have a little section in the book about moments like that. Because some people are afraid to connect with someone in case they get stuck in a conversation. Yes. I would love to get stuck in a conversation with you, Izzy, and here we are. And and we could talk all night. I mean, it's like 10:30 in the morning here. But what time is it there? Like
it's 7:26 in the evening. Yeah.
But we can for you, it's like being aware and giving people space, giving them permission to breathe, to step out of the conversation, but maybe to offer to connect, like, oh, are you on Facebook? I don't want to take all your time now, but if you want to connect, that would be awesome. And just give them if they want to. Sometimes I've given people my card on a train or something. I'm like, hey, if you come out to Dubbo, like we have a famous zoo out there, and so I'm like, if you're coming out, just let me know, and connect with me online if you want to. And so sometimes they do, and sometimes they probably put that card in their pocket and go, oh my gosh, what just happened? That was just this like, we just had this amazing conversation, and it's like, was that for real? And is she actually just going to like, you know, try and sell me the zoo accommodation, or am I going to get trapped at the zoo, or like, what is that? We don't know, but it's like just giving people permission to deal with it however they want to, and to go. But also sometimes we might find ourselves in a conversation where the other person is like so keen to chat, and we're like, I'm exhausted, I just can't do this anymore, or like I really need to go. Or so in this book, in Do Talk to Strangers, I wrote I think the chapter is, or the section is called How to see, now I've rephrased it for my next book, The Travel Toolkit, because now I've called it Polite Exits, but it was something like how to
it's hard.
It's kind of how to break up a conversation respectfully.
It's tough because sometimes I can sense the person's loneliness, which makes me want to even engage in a conversation more, because I want them to know that I care. And so it just makes it a longer conversation. And it's just because I'm so excited to be around people. And then, but then there's times when I'm not, you know, but those are the days I wear the shades. I got the baseball cap and, you know, like the trench coat.
You're like, don't it? Because sometimes you just go, I just need to go to the supermarket. I haven't got time to, you know, like do my hair, whatever. I'm just like, I'll just duck in quickly. I won't see anyone. And that's the day you see everybody you know. And they're all like, hey, what are you doing? And you're like, oh.
Funny story. And then because Kendra, get me if I get too much off a topic. I changed, well, now I have like these, they're called sister locks. So my hair is in locks. It stays the same. But before I would change wigs. So people would know who I was because my wig would change. Like sometimes it would be blonde, or sometimes so I would go out. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put on my red wig today because I really just need to get in the store and out the store. But now I'm like, you know, I need to be used in a way that I can connect with people because they may need me. And so I look at it a little bit differently than I did before. Because, you know, some days I might need to talk to someone and they engage in conversation, whether in a store. And so I look at it in a completely different way. Yeah.
I have to say, if I see you wearing a red wig, I've got to stop and talk to you, because I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm talking the woodpecker red it was.
Oh, wow.
So, quick question. So, is there a difference? Because we've talked about this on the show. Well, the guys on the different programs have talked about this. And that is when a guy is like being nice to a woman, just being nice, and how sometimes women's reaction are like, are you flirting with me? Or, vice versa. So I'm trying to think about how do we, and sometimes we see people we want to flirt with. So how do we, like, I guess maybe shape, how does our intention come through? How do we help our intention come through when we're connecting with strangers? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes you see somebody tense up, like, because I will chat with anyone. I sort of feel like I want this disclaimer, like when Izzy was talking about, she'll talk to anyone. I'm not necessarily confident. Like sometimes I am scared to talk to strangers, but then I know I'm aware. And so I'll shift that focus, to a focus on others and to serve and just to be present. But sometimes I just see someone and I just think, I just like the look of that person. You see somebody and you just think, I like them already. And so you're like, hi. So I have had moments, especially on planes, because you're sitting next to this person and you're like, hi, how you going? And they can have this look of apprehension, like, oh no, are they going to talk to me the whole way? So I might say, where are you off to today? Like, you're just going to this next destination or further on. And looking forward to the flight. I've got some writing to do, or I've got this great book to read. So they know they're not going to be trapped in a conversation, but just letting it flow. But I have noticed sometimes, so there's two different ways that it could go, where I need to like just make my intentions clear that it's just purely platonic. And it might be that a guy's looking apprehensive, like, oh no, am I hitting onto him? I don't know if you use that phrase, but am I too interested? And so I'll just weave my husband into the conversation, like, oh, my husband was telling me something about coffee, whatever. And they're kind of like, okay, there's someone else in her world. But I think if they're like too keen, again, I might use that. And I know that that's just my experience. I can't recommend that to everyone because you might not have a partner. I do confess in the beginning of this book that when I was going out as a teenager, when I was new to town, I just wanted to meet people, but I didn't want all these guys just, coming on to me. So I wore a fake engagement ring. I just thought it was just easier to just go, oh yeah, my fiance works out of town. I just came to meet people, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. I did get in trouble because one guy was like really angry that I deceived him because he's like, I wanted to hit on to you last week. I thought you were engaged. And I'm like, okay, thanks for sharing. I'm glad I was wearing it. Like, yeah. Like,
that's hilarious.
Yeah. But anyway, so I don't advocate deceiving people, but expressing that you really enjoy meeting new people, or that you enjoy learning from other travelers what they're interested in, or so they don't feel like it's just them, you're honing in on this person, but you like learning from other people, like him or her, so that they know there's other people in your world. You're not just going, oh, here's one.
Kerrie, one of the things that I loved about our previous conversation, and I never thought about it until you started talking about it, and that is how you have conversations with people and you pick up these interesting points of information, and then those points will allow you to connect with someone else. So if you could kind of talk about that, because I was like, that is genius.
Right.
I'm so curious about what happened. Like when our conversation last week, then you posted this beautiful post. I think it's just that we see something differently when we have a new conversation. So I look forward to hearing more stories from you about what that insight has meant for you. But I think it's just raising awareness of the conversation in our head and just how other people are. And I think when we walk into a room, not that we're doing a lot of that walking into rooms with strangers, and about a fair bit more, and it's starting to happen here. But we might walk in somewhere and see that somebody else is like sort of on the outskirts. They might be looking a bit hesitant to connect, and I tend to go and talk to those people because I relate to that. Right. I might look like I'm in the middle of everything, but it's like, oh, I know what it feels like to be the girl on the outside going, I think everybody knows each other and they all like each other, and they're all more professional than me and more educated than me. And, I still remember that girl in me that just disqualified myself all the time. And so, I want to make people feel welcome. And, maybe the people that are having a vibrant conversation in the middle of the room, maybe they're not the best people to go and talk to straight away because they're just like too busy and distracted to welcome you in. But, and on that, if you're in that conversation and you are feeling like so included, you're in the middle of everything, I would recommend that you just shift that one shoulder back a little bit, make room for somebody else to join your circle, or keep it more like a U shape. And sometimes we need to say that to our friends too, like, oh, let's make space for somebody else, or can we welcome this person over? Sometimes we've got to remind people, because we do get in a conversation, we're all excited, and we can forget about everybody else.
Yeah. I can't wait, because I am and I can't wait for you to tell everybody where to get your book, and we will do that. But because I'm new to this area, like for me, it's like, man, this is such a great opportunity to put into practice. So, now I'm looking at like meetup groups, and then I'm also thinking about, I don't know, you guys have meetup groups over there where you go online? Yes. And so you can connect with people. So I'm looking into those, but then I'm also starting to think about things that I love. Like I love art museums, right? So, and I'm not afraid of going places by myself. So I'll go to, I'm like, well, I need to join and go to their events, and that way I can really, so I'm definitely going to be very intentional about doing those things. But in my mind, this is how it plays out. I go to the art museum, I'm looking at a some painting or a sculpture, and then some fabulous guy comes, just like on the movies, and they're like, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, yeah, that is interesting. And then boom, bam, there you go. And you're all invited to the wedding. So that's how in my head. But I do love those little scenes in movies, because even though it's a little bit cheesy, but at the same time, it displays like what can happen if you just conversate with someone, just say a hi or a hello, or, oh, this is nice, or find some kind of common ground to connect with. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you think about all the people in your world, there's probably a lot of conversations that just began with a simple hello, and maybe it is noticing something in your surroundings. So it's a great idea to go to an art museum or some kind of function where there is something else to look at. But even if you're like, on a train, and I might be looking out the window and I'll just be like, oh my gosh, what a glorious day. And I just like throw that out there to, a person nearby, and they might be just like, or they might be like, I know, it's just such a lovely time of year. Or because we're talking about something else, it's not like me going, wow, you look great today. And they're like, oh, why are you saying that? So to comment on something external gives us both that point of focus and shifts our focus from, oh my gosh, do I look all right? Do I sound all right? What will they think of me? To, that external focus. So that can be really helpful. Can I just share with you, because I feel it's so relevant to National Kindness Day.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we talked about this, Kendra, but my latest book, which I actually just launched in lockdown a few months ago. So it's How to Talk to Strangers to decrease anxiety, build confidence, and make a bigger difference in the world. So
that's what I want.
So back to the conversation right at the beginning where we just were saying hello. Kendra, you talked about this moment in the supermarket where, someone's just struggling with their bags, and you just help and you have a bit of a laugh, and that can be the sunshine that somebody needs in their day. And so, sorry, my voice is going. But I wanted to remind people of the difference that you make a bigger difference than you know. And I felt like I did a search when we were, doing the final edits. Mm-hmm. I thought, oh my gosh, did I say that way too many times? Is it too repetitive? You make a bigger difference than you know. And I went through and I'm like, oh no, it's not. Actually, it's probably only there twice, but the theme is there. Like, I just want you to get that it matters, that your little acts of kindness, while it might just be momentary for you, can be a lifeline for somebody else. Yeah. And so I asked my friends and I shared my own stories, which my husband, Lyndon, who was watching, he dragged some more out of me, and he made me dig deeper into like, how did I feel? Because he's more emotionally expressive than I am. Like, he always has been. And so that's been a journey I've been developing over the last 10 years or so. But like I'm saying, so I'm lost in this train station in Germany, and all the words on the boards are like foreign, and I'm trying to find where am I supposed to be, and I've got 2 minutes to get to my next train, which is like part of a series of 4 train rides that day. And if I don't get there, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm saying, excuse me, do you speak English? Excuse me, do you speak English? I'm trying to find somebody to help me. And they're like, there's the information counter. And so I go to the information counter, and a guy's standing there blocking the door, and he said, it opens at 10 o'clock, which is 2 minutes away. And I said, my train leaves in 2 minutes. I need help now. And he was just like, he just turned away. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh no. I'm like, where else can I get information? And I think he kind of shrugged or pointed, so I just like go down there and I see this massive board. I'm like, oh my word.
There's no way. Sounds like New York.
Maybe, yeah, I haven't been there yet. I'm like, do you speak English? And this young couple just said, yeah, where do you need to go? And so I showed them my ticket, and this girl just says, down here. And so we run, but kind of through heaps of people, like it was packed. Wow. And I'm looking back, and I've just got like one little carry-on suitcase. And I look back, and her partner's like way back. He's trying to keep up with both of us. And we get to this platform right down the other end, and she looks up at it, and then she just goes, because there was like, platform 18, A and B, but mine was for like C or D. And she just goes, it's the wrong one. And I'm like, and then she like runs down the stairs. And so I just like follow her, because I'm like, what else can I do?
Right.
And then beyond the, the A and B trains, there was the C and D trains. And so I get on the train, and I've literally got like seconds to spare. And I turn back to her, and I'm like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And she's just like, okay, bye. Like, it was nothing to her. It was just a little slip through the train station to her. But to me, it opened up a world of connections. I had gone to Germany going, I called it my hashtag Do Talk to Strangers Europe tour, while my husband was walking the Camino, meeting other people like across Spain. But I just went, I just want to go somewhere where I'm going to be totally out of my comfort zone, where I don't speak the, the national language. And it's kind of funny that I would think that Asia had become a bit of a comfort zone because there's like so many different cultures and languages there. But yeah, Europe was totally out of the comfort zone for me. And so I sit on the train and I meet a Syrian refugee, and like we didn't connect much. It was just a little hello. But then when I went to get a drink, I thought, oh, I'll get him one too, not knowing any of his story. But I just thought, I'll just share with the person that's sitting next to me. And it's ticketed. Like, so he was told to sit in that seat next to me. So, I give him a drink when I come back, and he was so incredibly grateful. Awesome. And we just had this heart to heart. Like, I mean, my gosh, he told me the most intimate details of his life and thinking and just what they'd gone through in Syria, and that his mum was still there, and just amazing, the things that we shared. And it just really expanded my heart and my awareness of the world, and it increased my empathy. And I'm like, this is why we need to talk to strangers. Like, I mean, everyone has different feelings about the word strangers. To me, I guess it's a sense of adventure. It's a clean kind of word. There's like, we just don't know anything about this person. But we don't need to start making assumptions and judgments. We just don't know. And so we can get to know, and we can get to know people in a way that brings out their best, or we can, go in with assumptions and then see their worst because their fears come up. So to be connecting open-hearted, it was so profound. And then I met another refugee at the Brandenburg Gate, and they were all, it was like a national grieving day. And I was like, why are they walking around with like flags over their shoulders? And I'm like, if my son was here, he would know what flag it was straight away. And the police are standing there. I'm like, it doesn't look like it's not the vibe of a protest, but I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what's happening. And I'm like, okay, I could just walk past and be a tourist. I could just take photos of like, there's like something happening at the Brandenburg Gate. Yeah. But I walked past this man with a flag on his shoulders, and he had just sat down. And we just made eye contact for like a split second. And I just thought, do I just be a tourist, or do I actually talk to strangers? Because one of those moments where I did not feel entirely comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable at all. But I was like, okay, there's a book called Do Talk to Strangers. I think I might just take a leaf out of that book. So I turned back and I said to him, hello, do you speak English? And he said, oh, a little. And I said, I'm just wondering, what's happening today. And he started to share with me. English was like his third or fourth language. And then he started showing me like clips on YouTube and Facebook of things that were going on. And it was heartbreaking. I've got tears rolling down my face. He's just sharing from his heart. And I was just so grateful for that experience. And then like 20 minutes later, I'm meeting these Americans who are like on a tour, and they're at a conference, and they've all got their lanyards and everything. And they're just like in that hyped zone that's just all about them. And it was such a contrast. I'm like, wow, we can be any of those people at any time. We can be caught up in our own excitement. It was,
and even be on the receiving end of it. You know what I mean? Like it could be us on the receiving end. I wanted to, before we go to comments, the quote that kind of goes with this. It says, your world expands with every person you meet. And then your question is, are you ready? And that's true. Like that expanded a part in your heart. It was heartfelt to know that when you bought this gentleman a beverage, it was needed. It was much needed. That was like the icebreaker for him to get all of this off of his heart. You know what I mean? To share with you. And sometimes we just need to create that space. I love that.
And
we're going to go to comments. Everybody is loving you, young lady.
Oh, thank you. And my eyes just fell on one that has got to be, we need to just make a little, share it on social media everywhere. My husband has just said, small moments create big memories. I'm like, oh, that's gold.
I'm serious.
He's helped me with so many books. He's helped me with so many books over the years. That's right. But I made him share his stories in this book too.
You don't forget them. Like you said, the connection. I made connections with people on this podcast, and then I'll connect with another person. I'll be like, hey, you need to connect with that person. I've connected to people that were on the podcast, and now they're cool. You know what I mean? So Tyrone Rick says the cat must be messing with your Wi-Fi, Kendra.
I know.
Was way back. Yes, I will show you my picture of my red wig. My
Oh boy.
dad was like, "Are you gonna wear that to work?" I said, "Yes, I am." Charles Brakely says, "It seems like it's taken out of context these days. If you say hi to someone, people think that you have an underhanded agenda." I know that's right. What? Whereas it was normal back in the day to speak. I
Yeah.
know. I just have
Yeah.
this love and kindness way. I want to say hello to everybody. I want to let everybody know that it's okay, but some people are just not receptive to that. Amy Lanice Cowherd says, "Here in the USA, a ring draws more attention because some don't
I
want
was
commitment.
thinking that, Amy.
They want a
I was
fling.
thinking the same thing.
We got to be like, hi.
I know.
Hi."
Don't want to talk to you because you're a challenge. But go ahead.
Yeah. Charles Brakely said it's so true. Amy Lenice Cowherd says, "Walk in every room like you are the president." Yes. Fatima West, hi Fatima, says, "I love meetup groups, people with the same interests." I can see you, Fatima. Fatima has so much energy. She's so hyped and just like excited about life and people, and it just shows when she's in a room. Charles Brakely says, "That's in the movies, Kendra." What movies?
Oh, that's when she was talking about the art galleries.
Oh yeah, she's even better at this than me. Amy Lanice Cowherd says, "I love that ending, Kendra." I'm terrible. It takes me a while to go back. Amy Lanice Cowherd says, "You can't meet great people without coming out of your shell." Yes. And Charles Brakely says, "You might mess around and take home." What is that? Ike Turner too. That's terrible, Charles. That is terrible. William Byrd says, "Kendra, that's better than a bar where the first question is, what you drinking?" Dude, I'm out of the game. I don't have those problems. Lyndon Phipps says, "Small moments create big memories." That is so true.
Yeah.
You have to write that in your book if you don't have it in there, or your next book. Fatima West says, "I love the little kindness means so much to others. You may not even know how conversation or act of kindness really touches someone."
Yes.
Like the pay it
And
forward.
I
I
love
think
it.
I've gotten paid
Yes.
forward 2 or 3 times where I've just gone to Chick-fil-A and
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, you don't owe anything. The person, that was in front of you paid for your order." I
Oh,
love
that's
that.
so lovely. So lovely.
Yeah. Fatima West says, "I love to treat everyone I meet like they are the most lovely person I have ever met. We all need more of that."
Yes, Fatima,
Absolutely.
send me a friend request. Let's
Yes.
connect. I love that. I love it.
Deborah McNeil says, "Hello, everyone. As a matter of fact, we're going to put all your information inside our post so that everyone can connect with you. So be sure to go and connect, like her Facebook and Instagram page." Deborah McNeil says, "You never know what someone is going through." Yes. Yes. And just a quick, there's a video I saw the other day, and it broke my heart. And I'm not going to cry, but the gentleman was going to kill himself on the Golden Gate Bridge. He was about to go stand on the bridge, and he said hello to this first person, and he just said hello to them, hoping they would reach out, but they didn't. And so what he did was make his way onto the bridge, and he was blessed to have a police officer that is in charge of that area that came and talked him out of it, and so they've been friends ever since. But it broke my heart that he didn't want to do it, but he wanted to, and he was hoping that if he said something to that one person on his way of getting out of his car, that maybe they would notice that he was hurting, but they didn't even notice that. And it's like, where is this world coming to that you can't even sense it? Like he said people were driving by and telling him to go ahead and jump off, like, "Hurry up so I can get home. I'm stuck in traffic." So yeah, that is a touching story. Fatima West says, "You guys are having so much fun. I love it. Thank you for this enjoyment tonight." Yes, always. Fatima West also says, "Yes, the pay it forward. Yes, we are connected by our hearts." Absolutely. And then Amy Lanice Cowherd says, "That's true, Fatima. I felt you were my sister from another mother." Yeah, I haven't seen Fatima in years, but just seeing her energy on screen, they're just so excited. Hello, Joel Brown. Thank you for tuning in. He says he's just saying hello and great conversation. Love this. Thank you, Joel, for tuning in. Amy Lanice Cowherd says, "I take every cry for help serious. You have to, especially now Like, this is a serious
Yeah.
business. If
Yeah.
you're in the business of loving kindness and helping people, you definitely have to take it serious now. People are hurting
Yeah.
and they need us more now than ever. And to Mary Lolly says, wow, so sad. I know. I was just thinking, like, wow. Fatima West says, it's sad our humanity is dying, but it's blessed
Mm.
that we are here to be the lighthouses to the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In any way possible. Oh, we
Yeah.
love you too. Don't
Yeah.
make me cry. I'm still on that story. My eyes are tearing up. Tyrone Rick says, awesome talk. Yes, I love this
Thank
conversation. And I
you.
cannot wait to purchase your book because I have some things that I need to learn. Fatima West says, I'm going to use that. I am in the business of love and kindness.
Yeah,
Yes,
beautiful.
every day we have to. Deborah McNeil says, unfortunately, these days people just don't respond as they used to. They don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't. Amy Lanice Cowherd says, amen, Fatima. I feel like
Yeah.
everybody is in their zone. They're so busy
Yeah.
trying to self-preserve themselves sometimes. And so there's a lack of loving kindness, a lack of,
Yeah.
concern for the other one.
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I got to save myself. How can I save you?
Yeah.
But you don't know, like, you guys could be going through the same thing and connect to each other and
Yeah.
then create this thing. Like, we've created
Yeah.
women's groups or men's groups, or where we get together and work together as a community. So
Yeah.
what you're doing is just super awesome, to connect people and
Mm.
to teach them, because many
Mm.
don't know how to connect or
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
communicate.
And these comments are just so beautiful, and I
Yeah.
feel like you have such a loving community here. So,
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
so I'm gonna like hone some of the things that I want to share, because
Yeah.
I know I'm in the presence of beautiful, loving people.
Oh,
And sometimes you can feel like, because you are wanting to reach out and be kind and listen to every cry for help, you can get exhausted. And so I think we
yes.
need to be really mindful of what's going on, like what are the support services available, so we can you don't have to bring someone home. You don't have to bring home all the homeless, but you can know in a brief interaction like who you can refer people to, and sometimes they just need to know that someone looked at them and loved them and has directed them, because I'm not a specialist in all these areas, but I know people. My network is growing, and so I can say, you know what, there's a really cool organization just down the road, and I know that the people there would love to support you with what you're going through. Or here's this helpline. Here's this web page, which reminds me of just 10 minutes ago, all the excitement there. I just wanted to share. There's a page it was started in Melbourne, and it's called The Kindness Pandemic. So this started with people sharing, and I wrote about it in the book, and it's amazing. If you just need to be reminded that there's good in the world, just go check out The Kindness Pandemic. And people are just sharing stories of, I was just driving through the drive-through and somebody told me that they'd bought my meal, like you shared, Izzy. And then they share what that means to them. I didn't even know, I wasn't going to eat. I was just going to buy something for my kids because I just don't have enough money. And then the person in front has paid for it, and they've got tears streaming down their face and they're so grateful. And then there's a story of somebody who's just 50 cents short at the supermarket. So they're just going to put a product back, and somebody else says no, just let me get it. And they're like, no. Yeah, just let me get it. And just the joy of giving and the joy of receiving, and so much gratitude. It's beautiful. And so I'm sure there's a whole lot more pages. Well, I did list other ones. In the UK, there's the Handwritten Letter Appreciation Society, and I'm like, that is so cool.
Great. We haven't written a letter in years.
yeah. So let's all write a letter this week, just like a little note. And
that's a great idea.
My husband was at Aldi, and then he picked up this little thing. It's a book full of Post-it notes. So there's the long Post-it notes and just little ones. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. You can just write a little note, give it to the barista, the bus driver, a little note, say thank you. It lifts people. And so, we can just be mindful of that. There's so many ways to do that. But because, I really appreciate that we're on the same page here. So I would love, can I ask a favor? Because when we launched, to be honest, it was It was a much bigger project than I thought. We got back from India at the beginning of the pandemic. We had 6 days, had to like change plans every single day. And we get back to Australia and we're at home, and I'm so grateful that I've got a backyard. You know, like we had to do 2 weeks isolation at home. It was before the hotel quarantine because it was right at the start.
Yeah.
And so I'm at home. I've got friends in, you know, other countries going through really severe restrictions and illness and losing family members, and it was devastating. But I'm like, how do I best serve the world right now? And I just need to share this message of, you know, connecting and, you know, building empathy in ourselves and others, and kindness. And so I, you know, I had the idea for this book before, but it's like, okay, I've got to do this. So because my books have all taken different periods of time, just depending on like the depth of challenge or whatever. I didn't think this one was going to be challenging. So I'm like, I'm just going to ask my friends these stories. When have you, you know, felt anxious and a stranger has, you know, lifted you, you know, eased your tension or anxiety? And when have you been able to do that for somebody else? When did you, you know, encounter someone who built your confidence? Or when did you give somebody a boost of confidence that you connected with? And how have you seen talking to strangers making a bigger difference in the world? And so it's like, easy, send these questions out, get them to answer it. But there was so much struggle in it. And then when we launched, it was when the Delta variant was hitting Australia. And so everything was shutting down. So we just had like one online launch party because I've got stories from right around the world. So we just did one global Zoom and celebrated that.
Yeah.
But I was just exhausted, and we couldn't do any events. And this book is made for like gathering people. Like we've got book club kind of questions at the back and throughout it, you know, to encourage people, because this book is not about, it's not about me. You know, I don't want to be doing author talks and going like, this is me and this is my story. I want to be doing events where I'm facilitating conversation and everyone's leaving feeling like they are a bigger difference maker than they realize, you know, that their little acts of kindness matter. And I hope that everyone on this call today is getting that. You know, so I would love it if you would be happy to get it on Amazon and do a review. Because like Kendra said, she goes looking for Do Talk to Strangers. You can look for Do Talk to Strangers or How to Talk to Strangers. Just find I'll send you the Amazon link. Actually, Lyndon, if you're still here, just put in my Amazon page. But yeah, people are finding all the Don't Talk to Strangers books.
Yeah.
So we need to give Amazon a bit of encouragement that this book does matter.
Yes.
And, so that's just my ask. I would really appreciate it if you can.
And definitely a book club.
Amazon.
That sounds so much fun to actually sit. I mean, it doesn't, when you think of book club, I know everybody out there is thinking like 10, 12. I mean, you can have as many people as you like, but maybe like a girlfriend, like a couple of people in a group, 3 or 4, just to read it and then regurgitate the information and kind of like, you know, reflect it back on forth
and
with
share
each
your
other.
own,
I think that's
your own stories.
To actually act it out, you know, like challenge this week, you know, I'm going to do this one, you know, like put it to practice, because that's the only way that things become second nature, is that you practice, and then it's like, oh, this isn't so bad. So
before we go to comments and a commercial, we'll do comments first. I want to say that I wanted to touch a little bit on the connection with yourself and learning how to communicate with yourself first. And you had talked about that, I saw on your page, and I think that that's really important, because if we know how to communicate with ourselves and we have positive self-chatter, then we're able to communicate and connect with other people. If we're so negative about ourselves and talking negatively to ourselves, then we're not going to connect with other people. So I love that you had said that, because we got to take care of home first, which would start with the book in a small group. And then, you know, we could little by little, and probably even talk about how we've gone out and done these acts of kindness of communication and connecting. You know, I think that's wonderful.
Maybe it's just having a little post-it note in your bag, so you can just you know, give that to somebody.
And like leave it in their bag or something.
Just little things. Kerrie, on our conversation, I was like, okay, I'm really thinking about doing like maybe like a 30-day challenge or something like that when it comes to this. So if anyone out there wants to join me, then we can do like a 30-day challenge on talking to strangers, expressing gratitude, you know, showing kindness. And then let's see, you know, and I feel like by the end of 30 days, we will be changed people, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah.
And it warms
Would
my
you-
heart.
let me know. Throw up your
Yeah.
comments. I think it'll be fun. It'll be especially as the world is opening back up.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
now.
We've got some people that are in. I can see those beautiful
Oh
comments.
yeah, I know.
Would you like to share your stories or questions in the How to Talk to Strangers Facebook group?
Oh,
then
nice.
We didn't talk about this. Yes.
I know we didn't. There's so much we could talk about. So now it's called How to Talk to Strangers. So that's how you can find it. But I originally set it up as Do Talk to Strangers. And so you can get an excerpt of that book. There's files in the group, so you can actually go and help yourself to some resources. But yeah, it's a great place to share your stories. And I think Lyndon would have been live streaming this to that group right now.
Yeah, I definitely need
that. Yeah, we need to encourage each other because we can't just go, oh, I'm just tired.
I think like I'm so used to, I'm speaking one-on-one with people. I'm really good with doing that. And maybe a group of 5. And I know you're able to go out and speak to a huge group. And I'm going to be in a retreat where I have to speak to a large group of people. And I can feel the overwhelming anxiety starting to get to me and just be like, so I don't want to like shut down because I don't have the energy to talk to everyone. So I definitely want to get your book so I can kind of balance that out and try to figure out how I can communicate in a
and when is that session? Because I'm very happy to spend some time with you one-on-one too.
Yeah, that I definitely need that help. Amy Lanice Cowherd says, each one teach one. Absolutely. I haven't heard that in a while. We need to go back to basics. Brakely says, please like and share and follow Feel Good Talk. Yes. We have everything on replay. If you miss it, don't worry. It's live. It's awesome to be a part of the lives. But if you're not, you can get it on YouTube as well as our Feel Good Talk page. Amy Lanice Cowherd says, right, Kerrie, be prepared to provide resources. Yes.
Yeah.
To get back to writing, reading, and connecting. Bernadette Waldo says, I love to send greeting cards and letters. It really does lift people. Absolutely.
Yes.
It's so funny how these things are getting like old school. That watches are out the door. Because we have our time on our phones. So Amy Lanice Cowherd says divine connection. Absolutely. And you can feel that when you meet people. Amy Lanice Cowherd also says do fire drills. Oh yeah, in the groups. That's great. Amy Lanice Cowherd says, I'm in, Kendra.
All right, Amy.
And Fatima West says, I'd like the challenge. It would be fun to do that. And Lyndon Phipps has put the Amazon page in there, but we are also going to be sure to put that on the main page. So we have a show after this. If you give us a little bit of time, we'll put all the links where you can connect and get the book. Fatima West says, we are the game changers. Absolutely. And that symbol, I think it's a praise sign.
Woo!
I know, right? Amy Lanice Cowherd also says, shipping currently unavailable for the book. I just clicked on the link to the order.
That's weird.
I don't know. We'll double check on that for you, Amy, and get back to you for sure once we get off the podcast. And then Lyndon Phipps says, I used to be what is that? A postie?
Yeah, postman.
A postie. Oh, that's so cute. I like the way you put the little I's and the E's on everything.
Well, yeah, it's a postie because there's women posties as well.
Oh, so, I love it.
Yeah.
People light up when they receive a hand letter. It's true. My kids, they love receiving letters and cards from their grandparents. It's like if you tell them it's coming, they will be at the mailbox every single day. And we try to like keep them so they can have them for like keepsakes.
It's precious.
We're going to go to a commercial. And once we come back, I'd like you to give us some encouraging words to our community. And that, my friends, is the A Game. It is a male supplement that Mr. Charles Berkeley has available. If you're interested in samples, we have. They're specifically for men, so give it a try. He'll give you a sample, and they are flying off the shelf. So be sure to connect with him. I want to say that I appreciate you, and I'm grateful that you were able to come on and to tell us all this wonderful information about connection and communication to our community. I believe in growth. I don't think it ever stops. I think we continue to grow and learn daily until it's our time to move on. So I appreciate you so much. And I'd like to know, Kendra, did you have anything else to say before
I just want to say this is like better than I expected, and I had high expectations just from our initial conversation. So
yeah,
I'm just like blown away. I know you've blessed our audience, and like I told you before, this is definitely your gift. So thank you for sharing it with us. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the challenge. I will have to keep you up to date.
I look forward to hearing it. So when you just said you wanted me to share a word of encouragement before we finish, I just thought, oh, what do I say? And then I'm like, okay, so the first page of the book and the last page, I just wrote like a little piece that Kendra, I think, told a story. No, maybe Izzy did, about the guy on the Golden Gate Bridge. So I don't know if I can read this without crying, but we're going to give it a go.
We're at the end of the show. I'm good. If my mascara runs, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Every day, people are talked down from the ledge. Every day, people are lifted by words, love, and encouragement by the smiles of people like you. These moments can be the reason people stay when all they want to do is leave. The reason they go on when all they want to do is quit. Thank you for being someone's good news story.
Oh.
So I could leave it at that, but I love the last bit. It was kind of like the end of that. So we got another 30 seconds?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. This book will be read by those who know they're making a difference, those who hope they have. Yes, you have, and more than you know. And those who might have reached out in kindness and been misunderstood and stepped back. Please don't be silenced by the misunderstandings and judgments of less generous people. Let your light shine. Somebody needs you.
Yes. And that's so heartfelt now. It's so heartfelt right now after the past 3 years that we have gone through, and to just teach, people how to jump back in and to love each other again.
Yeah. That's it.
It's okay. And I do hope we have some comments.
Amy Lenise Cowher says, "You've blessed me." Oh.
And tears are welcome. Thank you.
I know, right? I'm trying to I can't write I gotta read with these reading glasses on. Somebody needs you. It's the truth. It is the truth. I had the hardest time not hugging during this whole period. It was a struggle for me. Bernadette E. Ooh, there you go. He's gone so fast. Bernadette E. Waldo says, "Beautiful love covers." It does.
Yeah. Ooh, wow. Love covers.
Even when people are unkind to you, it covers. You might not think it does, but it does. Fatima West says, "Yes, we are so grateful to have had the pleasure of having this time with you all. Blessed, grateful, and appreciative." Thank you, Fatima. Thank you so much, Kerrie.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you for coming. Now, we always say once you come on the Feel Good Talk show, you're a part of the Feel Good Talk family. So we welcome you back anytime. If you have anything you want to talk about, promote, just give me a holler, and you are part of the family. And you can see it's a very loving, supportive, and kind of crazy family, but in a good way.
I see that. I see the beauty in this family. Thank you. And thank you especially to Amy and to Fatima, who have just fully shared their heart in the messages as well. That's so lovely.
Yes. I love it. Before we leave, we always give a heart. Oh, but you know what? Do we have one more thing to read? Chuck, do you want me to read that? Or he's down with the hearts right now.
You can follow us. Yes, you guys know you can follow us at LinkedIn at Feel Good Talk, Facebook at I'm on my phone, so if I mess up, at Feel Good Talk, YouTube at Feel Good, FGT, Mind, Body, Soul, and Business. Instagram at feel.goodtalk. And you can email us at feelgoodtalk113@gmail. So you know we are everywhere. And you can hit us up on the website at www.feelgoodtalk.net. And we have shows on every week. Izzy, I'm taking your part. I hope you don't mind.
That's good. That's okay.
We have shows on every day of the week, recorded shows, live shows. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you share this show because you don't know what people are going through. So this could definitely be a lifeline for someone. So make sure you share. And thank you, Kerrie. Again, you guys know Williams World
Thank
will be
you.
on next at 8:30. So stay tuned in. We love you guys.
Love you.
Thank you.
I know